The second part of this that I want to discuss is how we relate and why that's important, which I mentioned earlier when I started this video. How we relate in considering our goals, right? What I mean by this is, I guess I should have worded it this way, in consideration of our goals and reflecting on how we relate, how we communicate, how we're seen, how we're perceived, and ultimately how we're presenting ourselves. When we look at how those two interact with each other, like I said earlier, your response is what you 100% control. Your reactions, your actions, you control that. That's very liberating. That's very wonderful if you use it to your benefit, right? It can be a detriment or a consequence to you if you're always relating aggressively, right? Someone who comes in and says, nope, that's it. This is how it's going to be. I don't care. That's the person that demands, that is a dictator, right? They're going to tell you it's their way or no way at all. Imagine if you relate that way to people and if people perceive you that way, or if that's really what you embody. Are you welcoming them in? Are you welcoming them on your path to help you, encourage you, support you from point A to point Z? No. And quite honestly, you're going to probably face a lot more external influences that are unhealthy for you when you act that way, right? So if I'm on, point A and I'm again trying to get to point Z and I just have a bad attitude, I walk around, miserable, looking for people to join in my misery. I'm complaining, blaming, utilizing defense mechanisms and not tapping into my ability to cope or accept. It's going to take me a lot longer to achieve what it is that I want, not to mention taking the joy from other people. Now, on the flip side of that, passively, let's look at myself if I were to be acting passively from or as part of this journey, right? If I were a very passive person, I would probably put your needs in front of my own. So your path may be over here next to mine, and I might hop on your path a lot more because I really want to help encourage you get where you are because my needs just aren't as important as yours are. Well, we know that that's ridiculous and we know that that's not true, but to a passive person, they tend to be people pleasers, right? So if I'm a people pleaser and I'm very passive where I put my needs aside for those of others, I will be more likely to hop on your path and say, all right, let's go, let's do this, we can do it. And I'm encouraging for you to fulfill your goal, right? But I'm going to put mine to the side. So that keeps me at A, right? It doesn't keep me in a lot of forward momentum. On the flip side of this would be or the third angle of this, not the flip side, would be the assertive person. The assertive person respects the goals of others, and encourages them, of course, supports them in ways that they may be unable to support themselves. However, we recognize that in order to take care of anybody else, we have to take care of ourselves as well. And a basic need of our life is to achieve these goals, whatever they may be, right? It could be something like, hey, I want a bowl of turkey, which by the way is 3 strikes. I never really knew that. And then, or I may just want to grow a garden or, buy a house, like I said before. Now, what resources can I pull from to support this goal? You know what? My neighbor, Joe, is, I believe he used to work at a garden, right? Or I know that he grows tomatoes. Maybe he can help me. Or whatever it is, you're pulling from the resources that you have. You're looking for support, but not with the intention of pulling Joe off of his path permanently, right? Joe may be that person that hops onto my path, gives me a push, gives me a little support and says, hey, I know this place you can go to. And it is a great resource for whatever it is that I'm trying to achieve. You get the point. So being able to utilize our support, but not overextending that support system. The assertive person recognizes that other people's goals are valuable to them, just as valuable as our goals are to us. So in looking at those 3, we have the aggressive person, again, who's really all about their goals. They may pull you onto their path instead of asking you to help. They may say, nope, it's my way or no way at all. We're going to get this done before it's anything about you. Again, very demanding, dictating. The passive person really is probably going to have a hard time achieving their goals because they're constantly giving and caring of other people and encouraging them. So how we relate here is incredibly important, once again, because we want to fall in this assertive path. And this, again, is Assertiveness Training 101, right? Which we did touch on this last week as well. Looking at how we can be assertive and respect our rights while not disrespecting the rights of other people, having that support, but really be conscious of these external influences that are keeping us from where it is that we want to be. in the big scheme of things, a lot of us can get caught up without the desire to change, without the ability to adapt. Again, living in this time, we all have to adjust. We all have to be flexible. We have to be understanding more than usual. It's been a huge lesson to me, and I know that a lot of you have shared that too, so I appreciate that. So I want you to take some time right now to really reflect. I'm going to link you to some questions that I'd like you to take some time to think about how this is applicable to your journey, right? Where you are, where you want to be. I'm a big advocate of putting things in writing when it comes to things like this, because when you put it down, it becomes real. When you put it on paper, whether it's pen to paper, whether it's typing it out, you visualize it, you're more likely to act on it. I'll tell you a story one time when I had done this exercise with a gentleman who was in his early 70s at the time, and he always had a dream, a hope of opening his own boxing gym. He was had long retired at this point, but he was a professional boxer. And his dream was to open his own gym and be able to share that love with other people. And one of the things that he shared was that one of his biggest regrets was that he never took steps to do it. He always talked about it, but thought that, the hurdles would be too heavy for him. And I found that very interesting because his whole journey was about overcoming, right? And when he shared about like the things he had to overcome, I asked him, and he said, I believed in myself in the ring. I didn't believe in myself out of the ring. And in this discussion, we had made connections with other people that he could have, or he could, if he still chose to, utilize a resource that someone shared for somebody whose gym was closing and they were looking to sell all of their boxing equipment. And it was one of those moments where we all, lit up and were excited about it. But it was also, a very humbling experience for all of us, because we realized sometimes it's just talking and sharing and really putting them out there to get other people. I mean, most of us all want to help. We all want to help. We want to be that resource or that referral or that support system. So really looking at, when he heard that, part of him I can tell was sad, because he's like, man, if I would have just shared this earlier, and maybe in a different situation. But also it opened doors for him to realize, okay, regardless of my age, being willing to share, being willing to communicate, and really being able to ask for the help when I need it, or just, seek out other avenues. That was a huge eye opener for him. And he had that opportunity. He had that moment to use as reflection and to help him on his journey moving forward. I don't know whether he opened a gym or not. But he did have his list. So what I was going to tell you, the last part of this is, what are some things you can do, right? What can we do to put this plan into motion? Obviously, the big important key of all of this is recognizing how you relate. Identify how you currently relate to people. How do you communicate? What do we need to do to change that, for that to evolve to a healthier place? And the second part of it is kind of like that baby steps. Right? Write down step by step by step. I'm here and I need to be here. What do I need to do? How am I going to get there? What are the steps that I need to take? I'm going to link you to the information now. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I will talk to you soon. Bye.